going on, you guys? Thank you for joining me. It's time for another kettlebell flow with me, Coach Johan. We're gonna get after it. 3 new flows, upper to lower body, the best of both worlds, strength and cardio, a little mobility. Who's better than you guys, right? Who's doing it better than you? So for our upper body, we're gonna step out and press. 5 minutes. Okay, we'll spend a couple of minutes getting used to the motion. Then we're gonna do a pass under to rack. That pass under the rack is just gonna keep us moving the whole time, get us used to our bells. And last, we're gonna do stuff on the floor as usual. We're actually gonna do some flutter kicking, maybe a little hip mobilization at the same time. It sounds complicated, but we'll get used to it. So the first thing we're gonna do, you're good, buddy. Just grab your kettlebell and let's start with that. Oh no, the first thing you're gonna do is set your watch. Here we go. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rack, and as I get into the position of racking, I'm gonna step out, press. Step down, I'm facing you guys again. At 12 o'clock, I step out and I extend that arm. Then I'm going to transition to the other side. Remember, this is a type of transition, but so is this. Where I do that full swing in between. I stop at rack. I come down to the middle, and I work nice and slow. I transition back to side A. Okay? Since I'm used to the swing transition, I'm going to use that. You can even put it down to transition, whatever you like. I want you to get used to it and do the thing that you're going to do, all right? Here we go. I'm going to step out and press. Now I'm going to go to the other side. Very simple. So guys, the front leg stays pointed towards 12 o'clock, all right? When I step out, going 15 minutes, 45 degrees. And I want to time this stuff so that as I step out, my knees are bent, they're straight as I press, and then down again, okay? So hey, we've got the idea. Let's get a little bit more violent and get into the speed of movement that will help us. And what's this gonna help? It's gonna help us if we're doing any type of strength training inside the gym, anything that requires upper body mobility that's precise. Right now I'm training in boxing, a lot of people for boxing, and so that upper body movement's got to be pretty precise. I want you to add one every time. I want you to bend those knees and rip to the outside every time you press. Lastly, you need your tempo to be maintained. Exhale at the top. We're on a set of 4 here, and we're already halfway done. Good. Go ahead and switch sides. I'm gonna rack. Now I'm gonna work out, press. I'm gonna step over every time now. So I'll level you guys up when I think you're ready to do it. So watch me for the set of 5. Step out and press. In, out. So all those rotational hip tissues, they're doing the movement. The upper body follows suit. Well, of course, the congruous part of that body is your core, right? That's what's getting a lot of the work. Step out and press, turn in and down. Step out and press, turn in and down. It's a very simple movement that can provide a lot of dynamic motion to an otherwise boring and relatively easy non-athletic upper body press. Let's go to a round of 4 now. Good. Switch sides. Round of 4 on this side. Good. We're going to count it all the way down. There isn't a moment where my hips aren't optimally locked. That was too many right there, so we'll stick with 3 now. Step out and press back to the middle. Of course, muscle memory. That's like a term that people love to throw around, but this union of what your mind is telling your body to do and your body's ability to carry out that movement, right? That kinetic attachment also gets worked. We call that coordination, right? You can call it muscle memory if you want. I think it's a good catch-all term. Cool. And that was, I think it was about, 5 minutes. Nice job, you guys. So that was flow number 1. How do you feel? Hopefully we got a lot of, we did a lot of pressing, but I'm feeling a lot in my hips. Remember, as I step back, I want to set everything. So look, think about it. This is all nice and stretched, including this hip. So this outside hip, the rotators are getting action, right? This hip was doing the same thing in the opposite direction. This was flexing, this was extending. Same thing on this side. Same thing with the shoulders, the upper back. We have this co-contraction, and that's what's great about that one. So this one's gonna be a little bit more mobile. So go ahead and get your watch ready. Your mark, get set, here we go. I'm gonna stand kind of diagonal to show you what's up. Pass underneath, drive up into rack. Step back, pass underneath, right arm rack. Okay? I'm going to challenge you then to switch arms every time. And this will be fun as we continue to do this and it gets more challenging, right? Now I'm going to switch sides. One more time, really slow. I'm in the rack position. Right arm rack, step back. Pass this bell underneath, drive up into your rack. Good. From here, I step back again. I'm just gonna drop it on rack, pass it, drive up. Think of your femur as a bridge. The sidewalk on either side of that bridge helps to keep that bridge nice and straight, okay? We're working on those 2 sidewalks, right? The road down the middle is the bone. That's what we're working. Now that I've ended here, where I actually began that side, I'm gonna switch arms. Middle. Okay? Or inside, outside, switch. I started again. Middle pass. Okay? Outside pass. There. And now I'm in my original position. Switch sides. So if you think about it as middle pass, you always know where to begin. That time I stepped forward because this side is a little bit tighter. So I'm gonna make sure to take precautions in that particular way. So step back here and rack. Step back again and rack. Now I switch. Good. Let's go to the middle. Step back. I'm gonna lean forward when I do this. Good. Just so I can maintain my balance. That's the chief part of this movement, is balance. Once that's achieved, you can do all the other fancy stuff. Underneath, and rack. Pass again, and rack. Swap sides. Let's go. That side, the handle was neutral. That's okay. Good. Switch sides. We're coming along here. We have another minute and a half. Good. I'm gonna press when I get to the middle of the outside. Now I'm gonna rack as I lose my balance. Come back. Here, swap sides. Sip. Sip. Here we go. I'm gonna step back into rack. Abs are tight. Outside into rack. I forgot my press there, so I'm gonna go again. Sip. Sis. I'm gonna go with the outside now. Here we go. Shush. And you do want to time your rack with when you're springing off that front leg. Really, we're just overloading your hips, the front side of your body. Shoo, right there, right? 2 press. Now I'm gonna go to the outside. Foos. Switch arms. Any transition you want. Sig. 2 press. Come to the outside. Shoo. 1 press. Or excuse me, 1 pass. Switch arms. Good. Nice job, you guys. All right, 1 more. 2, 3. Outside. Here. Switch arms. Okay. Back to the middle. Step back and drive it up. And finish here. Sit. Good. All of the core components of a good kettlebell movement are in play. Woo! Stacking your body on top of your chop itself, keeping your abs tight, and getting a good rack and a lot of movement, right? All in play. All right, you guys. Final thing we'll do today is working from the floor. All right, let's do this. So I'm gonna get my thumbs inside the bell, inside the horns, and then I'm gonna get my palms around the ball of the bell right here. I'm gonna keep this straight up in the air. So go ahead and slam your timer, and I'll show you what's good. Good, you guys, way to work. So we're just gonna kick for 30 seconds. When we're done with our kicks, we're gonna toe tap for 30, okay? Now the trick to this is to keep that kettlebell right above your belly button and your sternum. The handle's kind of pointed down, you know, and you got it safely locked in. Good, I'm just gonna check my watch. You're on point. Here we go, you guys. So now I'm gonna do this one slow. As I pull one leg down, and my my head is off the floor. Pull one leg down, I squeeze the cheek. Every now and again I might touch the floor, so not easy. But that's good, that's how we get stronger. And maintaining this bell in this position is a good way to reteach or retrain all of those, again, kettlebell philosophy that we love so much. Good. All right, you guys. We're going up and down, tapping some part of your shin. And this is the tempo that I'm going to choose to go to because it's the one that I can sustain. Good. And every time I come down, I hear the whoosh of the sweat and the rubber. Dang, that's good stuff right there. It means we're working. It also means we know what some of my trainees are doing today. This. So big exhale every time you come up, right? Sip, sip, sip. One thing you need to think of is try to think of using your hips as muscles. So a lot of the time we don't think of them as muscles, we just kind of use them. They're actively involved in counter-rotating our legs apart and in pushing our trunk forward and our hip girdle back behind us. So you do want to actively use them. That's why when you do any type of exercise where you're bending your hips, squat traditionally, right? And we're still pumping here. You do want to think about your knees going away from each other. That's how you keep them active. All right, you guys, tapping. Here we go. Good. And a function of us getting stronger is just grinding away. But my legs are bent. That's just how, I guess, somewhat tight, although it's a good tightness. My hamstrings are. Your hamstrings should be tight for some moves. The idea that you want totally loose hamstrings is not ideal if you're involved in any type of, activity. Jogging, hiking, running, biking, anything where it's like, turnover and hip centric, you kind of want tension in your hamstring. You want it to be automatic. It goes back to that muscle memory thing, right? If that's your idea, you don't want too much slack on the knee, on the calf. It'll take you forever to get going when you're doing your run or your hike. If that's the case, you're not going to be efficient if it takes you a really long time to break threshold, etc. All right, let's grind away. I'm just going to cut it short here because we are almost at 5 minutes. And I'm just going to pump. Here we go. So big exhales every time we come up. Guys, thank you for joining me today. Let's finish here for the last 10 seconds. These are your 3 flows, top to bottom. Add them to all the other ones we've done, and time. And notice how we keep adding stuff, and going back. Notice how your overall technique with your belts is getting better. Thank you for joining me, and we'll do it again next week. Power down, stretch it out, and I'll see you later.